We're back, bitches.
We're
back. And now we have a fucking blunt.
And we're talking about sexuality.
We're talking about sexuality.
And
because shit is not understood. Shit is confused in this fucking society. And we're gonna set the record straight.
set it fucking straight, bitches.
Straight. We're gonna set it. We're gonna set it gay.
We're gonna set that shit gay. Because why the fuck not? Like,
why not? So, what we were talking about. Wow, I'm already getting faded. We'll start with representation. Why is it that when you see like two gay people on TV, people get so pressed? People are like, I don't want my kids seeing this. I don't want my kids being influenced. When we were growing up, did we ever see straight people and be like, yes, like that's influencing me so much? Like, no, we're kids. Literally, no kids are watching that.
About it that deep.
And I feel like for you to think of that and think your kid is perceiving it in that way, there's something wrong with you.
It's rooted
there's
in
something very
else.
wrong with you, because like you should not be perceiving your kids as seeing two people kissing on TV and literally thinking sexually. Like that's wrong. That's wrong. And I think representation is so important, which again, if y'all watched the episode that we just did, is why I have this YouTube channel. I think it's so important for people to talk about these things, because it's so hard to grow up and not know if you belong and not know if how you see yourself is the right way. Because when people see themselves as wrong and when people see themselves as disgusting or worthless, that completely depletes your self-esteem, your self-worth. And then what is the point of life if you don't love yourself? Like, accept yourself, like, you know? Go for it.
Some things that came up when he was talking was growing up in a community that was basically white. Like, I remember being the only black kid in my class multiple times and feeling like weird. And as a kid, obviously, like, I didn't know how to identify that or how to verbalize it or like what it was. But I was
sorry. We're both 21. And this is California. Yeah. If you have a problem, get that shit. Go ahead.
But yeah, like, I was just recently reading an article about colorism among like black women and how they've worked to unlearn that. And that just made me think about like growing up as a black girl, and then also growing up as a black gay girl, like having those multiple marginalized identities can do a fucking number on you.
Do a fat
and then
number.
It's like we don't have the like I didn't have the language.
That's so important.
Yeah,
that's
like the
so
language to really sit with yourself and like work through that and like understand why you were feeling certain ways. So like important. I grew up, like we were just talking about, like thinking that I wanted to be best friends with some girls, but like nah, like
we had a crush, bitch.
I was being nasty. Like I was thinking nasty things, but it's like I didn't know how to.
You weren't comfortable.
I wasn't comfortable with that, like, and I didn't see that, so I didn't know what that was.
Feeling was.
I can remember very specifically my first. Maybe not my first, but like one of the first ones that I can remember. Crushes. I met this girl at a park that was like down the road from my house, and we were playing around. And then I found out we went to the same high school together. And I was like, fuck, like we're gonna be best friends. Like I was obsessed with this girl.
Yeah.
Like it was not
healthy.
That's not friendly. Bitch, I don't want to be your best friend.
I want to be your girlfriend.
Like I want to bump coochies. Like straight up. And after like learning about these things, I would say that I didn't start thinking about like what those types of relationships meant for me until after my sophomore year of high school. So like I'm 16, 17, thinking that I have these crushes on guys and like making myself obsess over certain things and like men, because I was like trying to make sense in my head of like what I was feeling, and like thinking that, okay, maybe I just am not liking these guys, or maybe I don't have all these guy crushes that like my friends have, because like I'm really picky. So I considered myself just very picky and like the guys that I liked, and made so many excuses when like at the end of the day it was like I was just gay. but didn't have that representation.
Exactly.
In media, in life, we didn't have those conversations.
In life. I think you bring up such an important point when you talk about language. Because, real quick, I'm not going to go hella into it, but my coming out story, first of all, just a little tangent or little whatever. I don't like labels at all. I don't like labels. I feel like they are very limiting. Yeah. I feel like they put you in a box where you don't feel comfortable in that box either, because sexuality is fluid. People are fluid. Just human beings are very fluid. And limiting people is just very detrimental to their self-identity, because they feel, like I'm saying, limited, whatever. So, my coming out story, I didn't have the language. My parents were asking me a lot of things. I didn't have the language to answer them. So I sat there and I was mute. And I was like, I don't know how to answer you, because I was literally 12 or 13 years old, which, again, seeing kids in that way at such a young age, where you think that they're thinking about sex in the way that you're thinking about it, is wrong. Because I'm not going to say no kids, because that's generalizing, but like, I feel like a very small number of kids are thinking about sex in that way at that age. So I feel like asking kids, like, what's your sexuality? Who do you want to have sex with? Is wrong. Very wrong.
At least in the way that they're thinking about it is, because they're like looking at it as like a negative or bad thing. I don't know the right wording now, but like, if it's not coming from a place of genuine care to make sure that you're safe and understood.
I think that's a
like
very
seen. Good
point to bring up, because don't get it twisted. Here, come in the camera more. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying talking about sex to kids is wrong. I think that's right. I think it's so important to do that from a very young age. I know a lot of people place a lot of emphasis on the talk. Like, when are you gonna have the talk with your kids? Yeah. I think it should be an ongoing conversation for a very long time, because it's natural. Yeah. And I feel like we stigmatize sex a lot in this country. And I feel like it's wrong, because you make people find a lot of shame in themselves, and a lot of shame in deviating from the norm, deviating from the binary system that we have right now. And I think let me just talk about shame really quickly. I'm probably gonna do another video on shame, because I feel like it's so important.
It's a big topic.
It's so big. But the difference between shame and guilt is, I did something wrong. Like, I stole from someone, I feel guilty about stealing from them. Shame is, I am wrong. I stole from them, I am an awful person. I don't have any self-worth. I hate myself.
It's not the action.
It's not exactly. And I feel like when you shame people for their sexuality, you're shaming them as human beings about something that they can't control. Something that even if they could control, a lot of us wouldn't change it, because we love ourselves, and we're making people not love themselves. And I think that's extremely dangerous, because that's what leads to depression. That's what leads to anxiety. That's what leads to suicide. That's what leads to not having a good life. And I think, again, everyone deserves a good life. Everyone deserves to love themselves to the utmost capacity. And I feel like when we are shaming people for their sexuality, we're depriving them of a good life.
Yep. Something that was like, I definitely agree. Something that was like ringing in my head was something that we had recently talked about in our group chat, which was like the difference of, what was it, respect versus acceptance.
Yeah.
And like, I could see what they were saying, but like, there was still something in me, because like, at the end of the day, yeah, like, you can't change a person's mind, but for me and like how I like really feel, or like at least how I'm understanding it, which is why like I asked for more like clarification as to like what acceptance is, because like I feel like I could speak like on a more personal level with like my family. My mom, she's like this Christian, she's a Christian, and she says that she like, you know, she accepts me and she loves me still, but she's still praying for God to save me.
That's not, and I'm like, that's not acceptance.
So then do you accept me? Because like at the end of the day, like I feel like, okay, yeah, respect me, definitely. But I feel like respect and acceptance can be the same thing. Like those are interchangeable, because like I feel like maybe then it's like acceptance versus understanding, because you don't have to understand, but like you gotta accept that this is who I am, and this is what is. Exactly. Like this is out there. Like
I was gonna say something. I think Wow, I literally just lost my train of thought. But let me just spit game. I think respect, when you respect someone, like by you saying respect and acceptance are interchangeable, which I agree with, I think you respect that person for everything that they come with. You respect that person entirely. And by your mom saying, no hate on your mom, maybe she has some unlearning to do, maybe she has things that she needs to learn, you know. I think by saying like she respects you but she's hoping for you to be fixed, that's not respect,
and that's also not acceptance,
and that's not unconditional. Right. So I feel like that's very, because even for me, like, I'll speak on my experience a little bit. Like, my parents did not fully accept me when, like, my parents definitely did not fully accept me when, like, I was outed to them. It was a very hard time. I was confused. I was like, yo, what the hell? Again, I was like 12 or 13, so it was like, it goes back to language. Like, I didn't have the language to explain like what I was going through. And I think that I lost my train of thought again. What were we talking about?
Acceptance versus respect.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I can say that I feel like my parents accept and respect me now to the fullest. I think sometimes I do think that if they were to have it a different way, I'm like, would they take that opportunity?
What do you mean a different way?
Like, if they were to have me as a straight guy with, you know, a fully straight guy with like a wife and kids or whatever, like, would they say, if they had the opportunity between who I am now and that option, I'm like, do I know for a fact they would say, no, I want Najja exactly the way he is now? At times, no. At times, yes. You know, it differs. But I think going back to the respect and acceptance, like, if I respect someone, again, I respect them for all that they are and all that they bring to this world. And by you, caveat, that's the word. By you putting a caveat in,
what is that?
A caveat is like if you have like a point, but there's like one exception. So by your mom saying, I respect you, but I'm hoping for you to change, that's a caveat. That's not full respect. And I think that's hurtful and that's harmful.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Wow, we're spitting.
Like, what?
Dab me up.
What? Bars,
Look at us.
Bars, the fuck? But yeah.
We're so smart.
Super smart. Super kind of smart.
Yeah.
Lots of learning. But
knowledge,
yeah, I don't know. I think for me, like, and maybe that's just me stuck in my ways that, like, of being naive and like hoping for like a utopia in like that, like, you know, I feel like, to say it in like a different way that I already said it, like, respect versus acceptance for me is the same thing. Because if you respect me, like you said, like, I don't remember exactly what you said, but I feel like the way that I understood it was basically that, like, you accept who I am, and like it's like you're not hoping for me to be any other way. And if like you're saying it's respect or acceptance, it's like, then what is your acceptance if it's just like
not full acceptance?
It's not full acceptance, because it's like, how can you not accept who I am? Like, how is that, like, that's a fact. Like, how you're not going to say you don't accept 2 + 2 is 4, because it is.
And no one's arguing about that, right?
No one's arguing that.
One,
Like, there's no debate. Like, what is there to accept? And like, I feel like, okay, if you want to, everybody has their own different beliefs, but I've always been a person that's been like, it's humanity over everything. Like, if you are not accepting a person for any sort of reason other than like some fucked up shit, not fucked up shit, but like, you know, based on things that they can't control, and obviously that's an opinion that a lot of people have, which I'm going off on a tangent, but it's something that I also always bring up to my family, my black family, because it's like, y'all are black. Like, my grandma grew up in a time where she was being fucking harassed and being called the N-word with the hard R by white people, and white people in that time would blame it on religion too and say, oh, well, this is what's in the Bible, like, this is what it's supposed to be, like, da-da-da-da-da. So then for you to turn around and put that same narrative onto gay people, it's like, those white people didn't accept you and they didn't respect you either. And in that same way, you don't respect or accept me. And it's like, I feel like you could say it's because of whatever way you were raised or whatever religion, and maybe that's a thing that I need to work on. Like, I don't know, but like, you need to do some looking. Like, how do you really feel about gay people? Because if you don't think that if you can't accept me, then it's like that's you, and like you don't respect me either. Then I feel like it's just like a performity.
Performative,
like
exactly.
Yeah, like because you don't. If you're hoping that I still change, like you don't accept me.
I was gonna say something, but I totally forgot. Wow. Okay. Well, dang, that was a good point. But I totally agree with everything that you're saying for sure. And I think one thing I want to bring up, because like again, it's concise conversation. We're gonna keep it short and sweet. But one final thing that I want to talk about that we were talking about before is the misunderstood concept of bisexuality. I think bisexuality is... Give me a second.
Bitch, I'm gay.
Show them. It's a woman.
My uncle, I have this other one, and it's like this woman with a pink woman with her legs spread up, and the smoking hole is where the coochie is. And I was like, I couldn't find it, and I asked my uncle, like, did you see it? And he was like, yeah, but I didn't touch that shit.
No, she showed us a picture of it. The coochie was licked off.
I be smoking.
No judgment. Okay,
it's like virtual reality.
Yeah. So the ambiguity and the misunderstood nature of bisexuality. I think I was always confused with like my sexuality growing up because again of the binary system that we have. Yeah, I got you. Hey. The binary system that obviously that we have in America and a lot of places in the world, of just men are with women and women are with men. I think that's very confusing for people who don't fall under that binary system because, for example, me, growing up, I was outed at a very young age, like 12 or 13. And so in my mindset, I was always like, oh, then I need to only like guys. I need to strictly just like find guys attractive, like that's it, you know? And I think that was very confusing for me when I did start finding women attractive. And I was just like, well, those aren't feelings that you can have because you can only be with guys. And I think that's the danger and that's the harm in having a binary system where there's no fluidity, there's no spectrum, it's one or the other. And I feel like that was harmful for me because I was repressing a lot of feelings, and any repressed feelings is not good for you. It's not healthy. And I think that's why, again, I don't like labels, but I think that's why I would label myself as bisexual if I had to give a label, because I don't like fitting into one box. If I find a person attractive, I find them attractive, and that should be it. There should be no reason why you find them attractive because they are a woman and whatever, you know. But
why does it have to be about genitalia?
Yeah, and I think that's the perverted part of how sex and sexuality is seen in this country, where it's always about sex. It's literally always about what is between your legs, and like that is not what all sexuality is. And I think that's why I like having more conversations about this, because it's so important for people to realize that sexuality happens on a spectrum. Sexuality is performed on a spectrum, and there's so many different people that you can be attracted to, and it doesn't have to be and it doesn't have to be exactly, and it doesn't have to be limiting, and you don't have to feel any shame for liking anyone. Like who you like, and go for it. Yeah.
Just fucking go for it, dude.
We're gonna cut it off because I know we've been rambling. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a good day. Bye.